So, Mark, do you think the hand gestures by Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark in the 2023 NCAA championship game was the exact same thing that Clark did to Hailey Van Lith 2 rounds earlier?
Now, not at all. And feel that the people who are saying that, both with YouTube videos, and I've seen it on ESPN, where they go, it was the exact same thing. And then they call it racism, which is total BS. And I'm going to explain why, Rob, because there were so many differences between these two scenarios. It's not even funny. First of all, it didn't happen against Angel Reese, and it didn't happen against anyone from LSU. So to say that they had the right to do that against her when it happened against another person, another team that they're not even involved with, I don't know. I guess you could say she deserved to have a little bit of it, but to say that to do what she did all over the top was crazy. I mean, first of all, she did it to her friend in a game where they were both talking trash, and they did it during the game as they were talking trash early in the third quarter when the game was still in doubt. And when she did it, she was doing it out of a timeout. And she didn't even do it in Hailey Van Lith's face. She didn't even see it. She was like walking by her a few feet away and wasn't even looking that direction. And she did this for like a second. That's it. That's all she did. And then come the next game, which is 2 games later in the finals, Angel Reese didn't do it in a trash talking way when the game was in doubt. There's kind of like an unwritten rule when you're trash talking. You kind of do it in the game when it's still in doubt. You don't do it at the end of the game because that's just gloating. And so she did it. She didn't just do the hand gesture for a second. She did it for a few seconds, and then she did the ring thing right in her face at the foul line with 50 seconds left. And then, again, 40 seconds later, the last 10 seconds of the game, as Caitlin Clark is walking away from her, she basically stalked her with the ring finger again and the hand gesture again. Meanwhile, her teammates were celebrating as the clock winded down. I've never seen it in the history of American sports where one player goes and stalks the other player and gloats and does hand gestures, all sorts of things to make them feel bad as their teammates are celebrating. Give me one example that's ever happened in the history of team sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally unsportsmanlike. And for people to try to do the comparisons, not like you said, it's not even close. I mean, she was in her face. And I mean, I don't know where the coach was. I mean, I would have been grabbing my player, like, would you come over here? What are you doing? I would, as a coach, I would not be happening. I would have grabbed her and said, get your butt over here. What are you doing? And I hopefully, I don't know if she will, with Angel Reese after a couple of years in the NBA, and if they meet, will she ever even think about it and say what that act that she did was stupid? Do a little dance around them too in front of them.
It was childish, publicity Caitlin Clark gets, and Caitlin Clark, maybe she shouldn't have done the hands gesture, but like I said, it wasn't even in someone's face, and so to think that that's the exact same thing is just disingenuous, and to call it racist is even worse because it has nothing to do with race. No. I don't care what race either one of them are. Just Angel Reese did something that went too far. If she had just stopped after the foul line at 50 seconds left, where she did one hand gesture and one ring finger right in Clark's face, okay, no problem, whatever. Clark maybe had it coming just because she did it, really quickly, even though it's not the exact same thing. That even then, I would have been okay with that. But when she did it a second time, 2 more gestures, 2 more times, and she stalked her when the game was completely over with, that's not even trash talking. That's gloating. And that's the problem I have with that.
Well, the problem I also have is that's the point. Caitlin Clark never did it to any of the LSU players. She did it to another player, and they saw the video of it. So they're like, oh, what is she? Oh, how could she do that? So that's the reason why that she did that. It wasn't even, she never did it towards the other LSU players.
When I hear otherwise intelligent people say that, I mean, Stephen A. Smith said it was racist to criticize Angel Reese. Other people on ESPN said it was the exact same thing. All sorts of videos and comments on YouTube said it was the exact same thing. That's BS. Let's be honest. I just gave you like 8 different differences between what she did, and it wasn't the exact same thing. That's just what people need to realize.
Well, here on the Mark and Rob Showdown, we're not like that. We believe that it was no comparison.
And if you had done that to Rob, he would have punched you out. Man or woman, he would have punched out the woman in the NCAA.
I definitely would have.
Well, Rob, that's a bit extreme. I think I'm going to have to call you on that one for the punch out, especially if it was a woman.
What did Bugs Bunny say? You don't know me very well, do you?
Well, I guess not. You really think? I mean, I thought Caitlin Clark showed a lot of composure at that time. And also okay, so that's what happened, right? Caitlin Clark stood up for Angel Reese and said, "Yeah, don't criticize Angel Reese." She was taking the high road on that. I'm not taking the high road on this,
Yeah.
but she did. And then when they played the following year, just this year, and Clark's team won, she hugged her after the game and didn't do any gloating. She didn't do any trash talking during the game. She didn't do any "now you see me" gestures. She couldn't do the ring finger because it wasn't the finals. But you know what I'm saying? Clark didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Clark, I would have been like, "Hey, bye, see ya."
Yeah, well,
That's
you
what I
would
mean.
you would have
I'll see
punched
you.
her, Rob. You don't tell me that. You would have punched her.
Well, I would have probably approached her in a very nice way and told her, give her a little ha 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 thing.
That's the difference between me and Rob. I don't believe in violence. Rob does.
Well, I'm not a violent man. Just don't get in my face like that. That to me. You can say anything you can about me, but don't do that. To me, that's really disrespectful. Like you said, gloating. You don't need that.
And that's the other thing, Rob. You just made me think of that. I've thought about this topic a lot, and this is the first time I thought of this. Those people that are saying is the exact same thing. I wonder how many of them would have had Caitlin Clark's composure, especially the second time, where she's stalking her for 10 seconds. I literally timed it. It's 10 seconds. How many people have the composure to not do anything, not turn around and say, F off or push her away or whatever? How many people have the composure? How many of those same people are saying it was the exact same thing and it's racism to criticize her would have had the composure not to do anything when she was getting stalked?
Right. That's what I'm saying. How many would have taken the high road and said, "Oh, okay," and then afterwards saying, "Oh, she didn't mean it." They would be going off like me. They'd be like me.
Would have said what Clark did. "Oh, don't pick on Angel Reese," or then hug her. And the next year, hug her after the game when they won. No gloating, right. No in your face, no now you see me, no nothing. She took the high road, and I was proud of her at that. So I don't want to pretend that Caitlin Clark's behavior was perfect, because the now you see me gesture, and then also the next week against South Carolina, Raven Johnson was at the 3-point line with the ball, and Clark was like 10 feet away from her and just waved her off like, I'm not even going to cover you. You're so bad, because she shot 24% from the 3-point line last year, not this year, but last year, and she waved her off. That was disrespectful. It was rude, but then she didn't do it against LSU. She didn't do it against Angel Reese. She did it against a different team. But I will say the next year, Raven Johnson shot 35% from threes. Anyway, it was rude for who to do that. And they got the revenge the next year. Raven Johnson got a revenge the next year because she beat Caitlin Clark's team in the finals. Right. So,
Yeah, I mean that comes with maturity. Like I said, so senior year, she matured out and didn't do that. And I said, like we noticed when she was kind of complaining to the referees this year, her father, called her and said, "Hey, cut it out."
Yeah, she was complaining about the refs too much her junior year and her senior year, right up until game 1 of the NCAA tournament, where she was complaining the whole first half, and her father told her to shut the F up, I think. It looked like that's what he would mouth. And then obviously her parents and her coach had a talk with her, because the next game she was restrained. And for the last 5 games of her career, she was restrained and barely did any gestures about complaining about the refs' calls. So that showed maturity. Right. She wasn't, like I said, she wasn't perfect. She did more showboating as a junior than she did as a senior, but she normally did that at home. Right. But she chilled on that, and she toned it down, and she's not doing any of it right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying with the comparison. I mean, to bring in the, as I say, pull the race card. I don't know. I didn't know I walked around with a card in my hand saying what race I was. You can kind of see. So, I mean, just compare it to just say it was the person. She was being a nasty person. It had nothing to do about race. She was being a jerk. And like you said, if any one of them had that happen to them, they definitely would have done something. They would have said something and been in their face.
It's totally unfair to say I can't criticize Angel Reese for that. Sorry.
Right, yeah.
I'm criticizing Caitlin Clark for lesser things that she did wrong than Angel Reese. To say that I can't criticize Angel Reese and to say it's the exact same thing is just my mind behind that lack of logic behind that.
And that you're racist, and then just because you're white and you're and you comment on a black player, that means you're a racist.
They weren't just saying that about me. They were saying anybody that criticized Angel Reese was being a racist.
Wow.
Which is not looking at it from a perspective from a neutral standpoint.
It's an easy word. It's such an easy word when people want to just like when I say something, if someone says something wrong about someone, they easily just go right to it. It's such an ezy word to go to.
I didn't even know who Angel Reese was before that game, so I had nothing against her. Then I saw the judge. I was actually flabbergasted. I was almost in shock when I saw it. That's how significant I thought. That's how significant I thought the antics of Angel Reese were. I was like, really, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I saw the game, the 2 weeks, the 2 games, the following week, the 2 games before, and I saw the hand gesture, and the announcer said, like, what was that? And nobody even knew. Like, there was no big deal. So I don't know why she had to make that a big deal come 2 games later when it wasn't against her and it wasn't a big deal to Hailey Van Lith. So
yeah. All right.
That's my take. So anyways, that's our take on that. Hopefully we won't see any more of that in the WNBA, but I will like to see a nice Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. If Angel Reese gets good enough, I think Clayton Clark will get good enough. So hopefully they'll play against each other in the NBA finals, WNBA finals, I should say. And that ratings would go absolutely unbelievable. It might beat the NBA. It might beat the NBA ratings if Angel Reese is against Caitlin Clark in the WNBA finals at some point, which could happen. Sure. I think they're both going to have long careers. I think Angel Reese is going to be a very good player.
Right. And be sure if you agree, whether you agree or disagree, please make comments, subscribe, hit the like button or dislike. Just let us know.
All right. So, Rob, you want to say goodbye?
All right. Peace out.
Take care, everyone.